more about this this freaking media war that's going on, or I should say platform war that's going on when it comes for when it comes to PC gamers, because man, we thought Epic Games dropped the bomb. The Epic Games Store, you thought they was trying to bring people in? Yo, you ain't never heard of Discord, my boy. Discord is out here trying to make moves, my dude.
For real.
They making moves.
Yeah, so Discord is like, okay, you doing 88-12 Epic Games? We're doing 90-10. 90-10.
90-10.
90-10s. They're gonna allow game developers and publishers to self-publish onto their market with a 90-10 split. And it's an interesting quote, and I'm gonna read the quote as is written or as it was released.
Okay.
It's a quote in their announcement. They started with a question. The question was, why does it cost 30% to distribute a game?
Mm-hmm.
And the second part of the quote states, turns out it does not cost 30% to distribute games in 2018. We discovered that we can build amazing developer tools, run them, and give developers the majority of the revenue share. So they basically said, look, 30% to put your game on our marketplace is untenable. It's not a good look. We're going to change that. And man, Discord just launched their store. And again, Discord is another one of those properties like Epic Games that just has a huge built-in dedicated community. And throwing games on them. I mean, people go to Discord every day.
Every day. I talk to some of my closest friends only on Discord.
Yeah, I mean, Discord is definitely weaved itself into the gaming community. To the point
and just like in terms of just communicating with others, it has essentially replaced Skype. Unless you're like doing business, because Skype business is still a thing, but
Skype like, business is dope. That's what
it is. Dog. Anyway, but as far as like a social tool for like just like a social tool, Discord has killed it.
Right, for sure.
In the last few years.
And the thing that Discord is doing, not only do they allow for the 90-10 split, but in Discord it has a universal launcher. So regardless of where you bought the game, you can launch it in Discord. The thing with Discord is everybody uses it. Most of these games on PC don't have built-in chat tools, don't have built-in video. Discord has that. That's what everybody goes to. We launch the game, we launch Monster Hunter, we get in the Discord channel. And so, I mean, it's just second nature. So for them to say, hey, look, and we're going to put games on there, and we're going to give you most of your money, 90% of your money back, it's a no-brainer. I can see
a no-brainer, man.
I can see more people, more companies, more developers moving off of Steam's 30% and moving over to Discord. I mean, Epic Games still has, and Epic Games was smart. They still have an advantage when it comes to games built on Unreal Engine, right? Because if you sell on Discord, it's going to cost you 15% because you got 10% to Discord, 5%
if you're using
to Epic Games, right?
But if you're using Unreal.
Yeah, and if you sell on Epic Games, it's just that flat 12%. But I think 3%. I think the large community that Discord garners
is worth oranges, my dude.
is worth 3%.
Yeah,
I can see developers saying, yeah, but Discord is such a huge engaged community because the people on Discord are engaged gamers. Is worth 3% to put it on there versus 17% or 8. What is it? 12. 15, 28%. No, 18%. Yeah,
you're doing all that math in your head. You got
that. 18. Yeah. So I mean, it's a 3% bump.
Ventrilo forever.
I used to use that for sure. But yeah, I think this is a shrewd move on Discord's part. I think it's a shrewd move on Epic Games' part. Yeah. And Steam, the ball is in your court because people have been
they've been tight. Yo, Gabe has been that mouth been shut. Gabe ain't had nothing to say, yo.
So now, guess what? We can thank Discord and we can thank Epic Games for bringing us Half-Life 3.
That's the only thing that's gonna bring everybody back. That's the only thing that's gonna bring everybody back. Half-Life 3 is coming, baby. And because Discord and Epic Game Store destroyed Steam.
It's going to. At the very least, most of the indie titles and mid-market titles are going away. Yeah. I can imagine that, some of the big first parties, AAAs, they'll still put it on there because they want to reach everyone. But even when you look at them, volume makes a difference. Yeah. I mean, 30% is 30%, whether you're selling one game or a million games. I mean, what's the point? Yeah. So
I don't know, man. I do not know. But like we stated before, and like it's happened so freaking fast. This platform war, especially when it comes to selling games on PC, man, it's only going to heat up. I definitely cannot wait for Valve or Steam's response to all of this.
What's their retort?
Because they've pretty much gone uncontested in PC for like gaming.
At least 5, 7, 8, 9 years?
I think about a decade, man. About 10 years. They've just been killing it on PC, being, the only place where you can get games on PC.
Right. And another thing I see is these low amounts or these low values can incentivize some of the big AAAs. When you look at EA and their Origin store, and Bethesda only selling out of their store, and Activision Blizzard selling out of their store, you can see them moving back towards these marketplaces after prices drop. Because at this point, it's cheaper to sell on the marketplace than it is to manage your own storefront. Where before, is close to the same and maybe cheaper for you to manage your own marketplace than it was to pay Valve 30%. So
so we shall see, man. But shots have been fired.
Yep.
And now we just waiting for the king to freaking speak up, man.
The king is dead.
The king is dead.
It's too early for that, obviously, but
I mean, this is going to be a major blow, but if Steam does not retaliate with something that people want, or not people, but just like
the developers, this is all about developers and publishers.
Exactly. Yeah. If they don't respond with something compelling for them, their decline is only going to increase.
Right. So
because they're definitely taking an L as far as 2018 and into 2019 is concerned.
Right.
Exactly. But how big of an L they're going to take all depends on how they respond.
Right. And this is going to be my metaphor. The king's not dead, but Discord and Epic Games are definitely storming that castle.
Oh yeah. From all angles, man. It's a crazy scenario.
They got the trebuchets. They got catapults.
Yep. Yeah. This is something I think was needed because competition breeds a better product.
That's how capitalism works. Capitalism does not work without competition.
Exactly.
That's why our telecom system is so fucked up.
Oh God, no, I don't even want to talk about that, man. I had an outage the other day, man. My God. And then you know what? That's a story for another time. Let's go ahead and move on to the next story because we got a few that we want to discuss here. And next up, we have Activision Blizzard back in the news, man. Activision Blizzard just cannot seem to get it together. I don't know. Go ahead.
I put this story here because I don't think this was Blizzard's decision.
It can't be, man. It does not make sense that it would. And what we're talking about is Heroes of the Storm, a game by Blizzard. A fairly popular game, not as popular as some of the other games that they have out, but popular enough to spawn its own esports series.
Right.
Blizzard came out and pretty much stated that they're going to be taking resources away from Heroes of the Storm. So as the game is going to be essentially, slowing down.
Right.
And their esports scene is being dissolved in its entirety. It's gone. Immediately. Yeah.
So the events they had planned for 2019 are not going off. It's Heroes of the Dorm and what's the other one?
I can't remember what the other one was.
But those two are not going off. Heroes of the Dorm and Global Championship and Heroes.
There we go.
The Heroes Global Championship.
There we go.
I should say. So those are gone. And what Heroes of the Storm did is it's a MOBA, but they took characters from all of their other IPs and stuck them in there. I mean, they had characters from Overwatch, they had characters from Diablo, they had characters from Warcraft. They had all of them in that game. And while it wasn't on the scale of popularity of, say, a League of Legends, it was up there pretty high. It wasn't being played. It was being played a lot, and people are very upset. But
I mean, it was one of the most, or the top games on streaming on Twitch. I mean, it's always on,
always
like,
in the top 25.
top.
Yeah. And again, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where Activision wasn't happy with the revenue coming in from Blizzard, because Blizzard's been doing, they support their games, but they've essentially been supporting them for free. When you get new characters in Overwatch, it's free.
Yeah.
You get new stages. In Overwatch is free. Heroes of the Storm, when they were adding new characters, they were free. Yeah. They were making their money up on, like, the loot boxes,
the
microtransactions, which were purely cosmetic in most of the games. So I think this again is Activision saying, hey, look, you're not bringing in enough money for us. You're gonna have to, because Activision's thing was, you need to release more games faster.
Yeah. And
so I can see that. Okay, Blizzard is caving, because at the end of the day, it's not a partnership. Activision bought Blizzard; they are the boss, and they have to bow to their will at this point.
Yeah, and the thing is, they've been operating as if they were essentially, business as usual over at Blizzard. Hadn't had much oversight or much influence from Activision. But that all changed when Overwatch came out, and the success that came, the overwhelming success that came with that game, for the most part based on the microtransactions, the amount of money that they made selling those skins was enticing, and it got them to a point where Activision, that is, where they expect the same kind of return,
from other
constantly
games.
from other games as well, and on a regular basis.
Exactly.
A lot of companies are churning out new versions of games like every 6 months.
Yeah, we know Activision, their Call of Duty, and what's the other game? It's another game that they do every year. Whatever, but Activision, their Call of Duty game every year. That's what they want. They want something like that from Blizzard, because they release the Call of Duty, they release expansion packs, and they have microtransactions. Yeah. They want that. They want that from Blizzard, and Blizzard,
now they got loot boxes. So
right, exactly. So they want that from Blizzard. So it's a three-tiered revenue. Three-tiered revenue for Activision on that IP, and they would like all the IPs like that, because they're just a greedy company.
They just want all the money.
They just want all of the money. It's not enough, and you can't just blame Activision or even just any company. Is also partly to blame is Wall Street, because Wall Street values a company success based on how much they're growing, and if they're not growing, they devalue you. So there's that as well. But
that's a whole other can of beans.
Yeah, this is what Blizzard fans were afraid of when Activision announced that they were buying Blizzard. And it looks like it's been some years. I think it's about 5 or 6 years now since that transaction completed. But it looks like it's slowly going to start turning to the Activision show, and we're going to see Overwatch, Black Ops. We're going to see Overwatch. We're going to see Overwatch Advanced Warfare. We're going to see.
Oh God, yeah.
That it's going to go on. It's going to go along those lines. So it'd be interesting to see
a new Diablo every year.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this proceeds. But I think Blizzard is going to slowly wind up another one of Activision's IP factories.
Yeah, pretty much. And the main one of the main points of this story was the fact that they had dissolved their esports scene.
Yeah.
And that was devastating on a multitude of different levels. One, because, you had a lot of pro gamers that, gave up whatever they were doing to pursue this game as a profession. You had new people coming in, you had returning people from the last season. Commentators, like event holders or whatever, all those promoters, all of those people essentially lost their job.
Exactly.
And that's I don't know the the exact number, but it has to be like at least in the thousands of thousands, couple of thousands of people just lost their jobs.
Right.
It threw a freaking, what was it? A press release on the main website. It's ridiculous, man.
And again, Blizzard is known to they have been known to cater to their community. They're one of the companies
cater, not just like, oh yeah, we're in tune with what they want. They cater
to
their audience.
They love their audience. They love their fans, and this is so far out of the ordinary for Blizzard.
It's unlike them.
It's no way that this was their decision alone.
Right. Yeah, because there's being tone deaf, and then there's being completely detached. And this is, if Blizzard thought that this in any way, shape, or form was something that their fans wanted, like I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's like I said, I am 100% sure that this is the work of Activision behind the scenes, and more of Blizzard caving, and it may even be a situation where Blizzard had to sacrifice something to save some of the other stuff that they have going on. We have to put something up, or all of it
has to stop. Yeah,
right. So I think it may be along those lines, but at the very end of the day, I very, very strongly believe that this ultimately was Activision's call.
Yeah. There's no way that Blizzard did this. I mean, the game is actually still going on. They're still gonna, continue with, development and have like events and whatnot for the time being. But it will be at a much slower scale, at a slower pace than what they've been doing previously. So I mean, if you love the game, and I'm sure that there's plenty of people that adore and love this game, they'll continue to play.
Right.
But as far as professionally and competitively, like that's gone.
Well, it can so the worry is Blizzard going to continue to support this? Because the tournaments they canceled were sponsored by Blizzard, right?
Right.
So third parties can actually still offer tournaments.
Very true.
But the worry is, how long is Blizzard going to support this game? If this is what they're doing with it, how are they going to support it? Are the balances going to come fast enough to even maintain an esports league at this point? Because when they were maintaining the esports league, they pushed out updates to keep it balanced constantly.
Yeah.
Now that they got a smaller crew, there's no incentive for them internally Blizzard to balance it as much as they did before. How can they maintain a proper competitive esports when the game is not being tweaked and balanced when it needs to be?
I don't know, man. That's going to be something for the pro scene to figure out, and any updates that come from this story, we'll definitely revisit it and check it out for you guys, and also give our opinions as well. And with all of these stories that we're going to be talking about, the ones that we talked about previously, we want to know what you guys think about these. So if you're watching us live, you can leave your comments here in the chat. If you are watching after the fact or listening on your favorite podcasting app, let us know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section. And because we like to keep the conversation going when it comes to these topics. A lot of the times we'll talk about something, and then like an update will happen, and me and Todd will be just going back and forth all week, just talking about all the new different news stories. So we would like to incorporate you guys, our audience, into that as well. So reach out to us, and let's keep the conversation going. And with that said, we can go ahead and move on to the next story. Epic Games is back in the news, and we talked about them a little bit earlier. How they pulled their mobile game Infinity Blade from the iOS marketplace, but now we're talking about them on home consoles, and it looks like Epic has opened up Fortnite's cross-platform tools to developers, essentially giving them everything they need to bring the home consoles together when it comes to Fortnite.
But it's not just the home consoles; it's everything. It's
everything.
PC, Mac, iOS, Android,
PC,
Xbox, Switch. What's the last one? PlayStation. It's
Your dishwasher. No, I'm just kidding.
it's tools to bring all those things together. It's supposed to start in 2019, and it's just going to first start with cross-platform logins. So you use one login to log into any system you're playing on, and maintain your
progression.
Yes, and also friends. So whoever's playing specific game. So like in this instance, I'm going to say something like Monster Hunter. You know, O's on the PC, you on PlayStation, I'm on Xbox. It'll link us all. We can all play together, and we'll maintain on our friends list in Monster Hunter. Not necessarily on Xbox Live, but in Monster Hunter, we can find each other on the friends list that way. And then going forward, they're going to add voice comms, cross-platform voice communications, which is nice. Parties, cross-platform parties.
Sucks for Switch players, but go ahead.
Cross-platform matchmaking, data storage, cloud saves, achievements, and all of basically they're gonna put it all together. They're just dripping it out. They're also going to add anti-cheat features, social features, features for user-generated content. So you're looking at those mods for Fallout and all of the other stuff that's going to be available as well cross-platform. So they're just building this whole suite, and so they're giving it away for free. My understanding of how business works,
nothing's free.
they're going to give away a basic subset of services for free, and as you want to add more of the features, you'll probably have to pay.
I like that, boys.
Yeah, so what I like about it is Fortnite is trailblazing that cross-platform. We know that Minecraft is doing it. We know that Rocket League is doing it. And
to a degree, they're still not on PlayStation
because PlayStation won't allow it.
Right.
We know there's a third game that's doing it as well. I can't think of it, but there's a third game out there. It's like a smaller mid developed game, but we know that they're doing it and they have the tools. But Fortnite is doing it the best. They're doing it the most, and to allow these tools out for everybody to use is beneficial for the gamers. I don't care if PlayStation continues to block people off, because I can play on my PC and
you can
still
play anywhere else.
Yeah, I can play anywhere else, basically. And PlayStation is the one that's left out, and that subset of gamers are going to be the ones left out. Because when you look at adding the Nintendo player base and the Xbox player base and the PC player base and the mobile player base, it trumps anything that Sony has by itself, and it will incentivize when the tools are out there and they're easy to use, easy to get a hold of. It's going to incentivize more developers to add these type of tools to their games, even if they're not going to use them. If it's not cost you anything to put cross-platform logins and friends in your game, why not?
Yeah, because there's tons of games that could have definitely benefited from it, in my opinion. And I've been saying this since the topic of cross-platform came up, within this generation. Well, I've been talking about fighting games. I feel like fighting games definitely would be able to strive if there was a cross-platform element to them. Because you see how Capcom did with Street Fighter, but then the very next release, Marvel Infinite, it didn't have crossplay. It
didn't have cross-platform,
and I feel like that game, with the amount of people that were not satisfied with that game, if it had crossplay, it definitely would have lived a little longer.
Right,
because instead of having 3 fractured player bases across 3 different platforms, you have one meaty sized player base,
right?
And it's just better.
Yeah, we've talked about plenty of games. I'm gonna give a shout out to my little brother. I love you, little bro. Your favorite Battleborn. I mean, that's a game that
G-Mark's in the house
that has a fractured player base, and if you put them that and it's killing the game. But if you put them together, it'll be a solid, because it's one of those games that people that play it and like it, play it and love it. They're very loyal to the game. But their problem they have is they don't have enough people to play with. I was talking to G Mark not too long ago, and he was saying, like, when he play against all the same people all the time, because the player base is just not big enough. And when you look at games like that, because these developers, And especially when you look at the mid to high level developers, they put millions and millions into game and for it to just crash and burn after 6 months because you have to maintain a community on PC and Xbox and PlayStation and Switch, where instead of doing 4, you can just mush them all together and give your game more life. It's just a no-brainer for you to add the tools, especially if they're not going to cost you anything.
Man, Epic Games is just doing a lot right now. They are becoming the people's champ, like out of nowhere.
Yeah, Gears of what?
I know, man, and that's crazy because that's what I think of when I think Epic Games. I think Gears of War. I think gritty, freaking military shooters, Unreal Tournament, stuff like that. And now it's the main stories that we've been talking about is how much money they're making, how much money they're giving back to people, and how they're trying to just unite unite gaming, the gaming communities. It's pretty it's a very jarring difference between what I think of and what actually is reality when it comes to Epic Games, because
it's a huge turn of events for sure.
Yes, very, very, very huge, because they're going out of their way to just make gaming better for everybody, for developers, for players, like any and everybody. So yeah, we'll definitely keep our eyes on this. Hopefully some people, jump into it, and maybe we can retroactively add crossplay to a lot of the most popular games that are out there. I mean, I do not see why it couldn't happen.
Yep.
Exactly. If the game is still thriving, add crossplay, man. Let everybody play with everybody. Give people, the opportunity to play against, other people. I don't know. Especially if it's not a first-person shooter. If it's a first-person shooter, because you have the controller versus keyboard and mouse, like that's a mismatch in a lot of cases.
Let's take a step back, because Microsoft has been working on tech to
very true. Yeah, we talked about that.
To mitigate that particular issue, and they tested it last December in Gears, and
I remember that.
They were able to they were able to crunch the numbers and see it wasn't that huge of a difference, and they took it back to the lab. So those tools are being worked on are going to be available as well. So you don't have that KBM advantage.
Yeah, I remember that. So the technology is here. We just need to take advantage of it. I'm really excited about what's going on with those guys over at Epic Games, because they're definitely changing the game for the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, next up on the list is Riot Games. Finally, yeah. Sorry, I jumped the gun a little earlier in the show, but now we're talking about Riot Games. The last thing we heard about these guys is that they had brought in people to essentially fix their toxic work environment. We also talked about the fact that a previous and current employee was suing Riot Games over those hostile work environments. And now we have a new story because the Riot Games executive, I do not have his name, I'm going to bring it up.
It's Scott Gelb. Scott Gelb.
Scott Gelb.
Scott with one T, so he's a bro.
Yeah, he's a bro. But yeah, he has been suspended from his position as
he was a C-level. Yeah, he's a chief financial officer, was he? Hold on, let me look.
Yeah, we're looking at it right now.
Yeah, I think he was the chief
operating officer.
Chief operating officer. Scott Gelb has been suspended for 2 months unpaid plus training. So I guess it's sensitive workplace training. I think watch the little movie. Yeah, suspended without pay for 2 months for a C-level executive. That's child's play, because
it's nothing.
He's making so much money. It's not going to really put him in some hardship.
2 months. What's that's going to do to him?
Yeah, but listen to this.
That's chump change.
Listen to what he was doing.
Yeah,
so,
oh my God.
He was dry humping employees, slapping dudes in their testicles, and farting in people's faces. You are an executive, and you're doing like high school locker room pranks. I mean, really?
I don't know, man. I don't know what kind of high school locker rooms everybody grew up in, but where I'm from, we did not punch each other in the nuts, man. That shit hurts. Who does that?
The ball taps? Yeah, that's
we did that ball tap when I was in high school.
That's fighting right there.
We fighting if you tap me in the balls. That's just disrespectful right there. It's like, why would you do that? Why would you cause me that much pain?
The fact that you're an executive and you're doing that. What was more egregious to me as more than the ball taps or the face fart is the dry hump. You just running up on people humping them. What the hell are you doing? What?
Yeah, and it doesn't specify whether it was females or males that he was humping. It just said coworkers.
Yeah, coworkers.
Coworkers. Since he's probably dry humping dudes too.
Yeah, people running down the hall. Oh, Scott's coming running.
It's like sorry, man. We got to get out the hallway. The COO is coming. I don't want to get dry humped.
Exactly. What is he, a fucking puppy?
I don't want to get farted in my face. Yo, if somebody fart in my face, I'm gonna hurt you, man. Like that is like borderline ultimate disrespect right there. It's like I can't look at you the same anymore if you do that to me. Right. If I don't hurt you in some way, shape, or form.
I can't wrap my head around the fact that this guy is an executive. I can't wrap my head around the fact that he's only being suspended for 2 months. I can't wrap my head around what they think they're doing. This is go stand in the corner. This is nothing. Yeah, this dude, if that's what he's doing, he needs to be out of a job. I don't care. He needs to go out.
Yeah.
See the door. No suspension. Suspended without pay forever. What the hell?
Yeah, unemployed. That's what needs to happen. It's like, how do you do like any one of those things would be termination in just about any other job.
A lower level employee. If it was just a developer doing that, if it was the art director doing that, that person is gone. He's a COO. He should be held to a much higher standard.
Man, if you dry hump somebody in McDonald's, you getting fired, my guy. It's like you can't do that.
No, you gotta be. I don't understand why he's here. Why he's still there. He needs to go away.
And this is why Riot Games is being sued, because they're not fixing the problems. I don't know what kind of training, I don't know what kind of training is going to fix this guy from, what he's been doing, because farting on people, dry humping people, like that's not something you can fix with a 30-minute video.
No.
That's not something you can do with
some you can do. Training. What the hell?
Get the hell out of here with that. But good on Riot Games. I don't know, man. I don't know what it's gonna take for these guys to just get their shit together.
Right.
But let's go ahead and move on. We got one more story in our top 5. So let's go ahead and get to it. And this is Facebook and ZeniMax. We talked about this a couple of times. The last time we visited this story, we had come to the conclusion that ZeniMax had settled on the
settled with Carmack.
With Carmack, the actual the inventor of the Oculus, correct?
Right. They settled with Carmack. So the story is John Carmack started working on the VR system while he was working at ID Software. Yep. He took it to his bosses. He took it to ZeniMax. I was like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. So they opened Oculus, him and Lucky Palmer. They started Oculus. They came up with the Oculus Rift. It became a hit. Facebook bought them, and ZeniMax said, hey, wait a minute.
That was our idea.
Yeah. So they sued.
So they took him to court stating that any idea that comes up during the time of his employment is property of ZeniMax.
Right. And unfortunately, that's standard practice in a lot of places. I mean, it was standard practice. It was when I worked at Verizon, it was a thing. If you came up with any telecom advancement, be it a software advancement, a piece of hardware or something, Verizon had the first right of refusal. And if you did it on Verizon's property, they owned it. Yeah. So I mean that's standard in a lot of companies, especially tech companies. So
Yeah.
It's it just seems to me like it was an oversight by Carmack, and I think what his thinking would have been was, okay, I offered it to them and they didn't want it, so why are they now suing me for it, right? That type of thing. But yeah, they were able to settle. The terms weren't disclosed. Facebook got into this only because they bought Oculus after the fact. And in fact, ZeniMax tried to find Facebook liable, and I think a judge early on found Facebook not liable because they basically said, how could Facebook have known about this when they bought Oculus? Or Facebook didn't know about this when they bought them. So, there's that. And this is now supposedly over. ZeniMax probably got a nice little payday. They can put it on their books. We'll probably find out how much it was when they make their earnings announcements.
Yeah.
Their annual earnings. But I mean, if I'll take a look. If I see it, might report about it.
I don't know. This has been a priority over at ZeniMax for a long time. You know, they've seemed really salty about the success of the Oculus, and the fact that Facebook bought them only meant that they could sue for a large chunk of change, and that's what they went after, and it kind of sucks because ZeniMax has some subsidiaries that need some attention right now.
Bethesda, we're talking about you.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. I really feel like them pursuing a lawsuit that they ended up settling for.
Well, maybe they can take some of that money and fix Fallout 76.
They need to fix something. Need to fix that freaking played out engine they've been using since Fallout 3.
Yeah, since what, 1992?
Get that shit out of here, man. But yeah, so this is seemingly over. If the earnings come back and it shows the exact amount, we'll give a quick update in the updates and correction section of the podcast. But this isn't something that we like to focus on this show. We kind of like to talk about the actual news around games and game companies, and them suing each other isn't very isn't exciting for me. We don't we as the player don't benefit from these guys suing each other.
I want to bring it up because we have been talking about it.
Yeah, we talked about it in the past. Yeah,